Oh, and it's not hot. I'm just sweaty because I was exercising. Hey you guys, it's Dana and it's Tuesday, so we're gonna talk about money and we're gonna talk about leasing a car and if I should. All right, so more and more people in my personal life have been telling me that they lease their cars. And I think that the statistics are like 25% of Americans choose to lease a car over buying a car. And I have never leased a car in my life. I think when I was early 20s, I heard something on the radio or read a book or an article or something that said leasing cars was bad. And so I just said, okay, it's bad, and just kind of went with that without really understanding why that would be a bad idea. And so I've never done it. But because I've been hearing a lot of people tell me more and more that they're leasing, I started researching it more. And so I figured I would just share with you sort of in a simplified way what I found about leasing a car versus buying a car, and mathematically why, what the differences are. And if you lease your cars, if you've always leased your cars, you go from one lease to the next, because I know a lot of people do that, then, that's fine. That's good. And you're probably not watching this video. This video is really just for the people who are on the fence about it, who are unsure, or maybe want to understand a little bit more what leasing a car means. All right? All right, so you guys know I'm a big Dave Ramsey fangirl. And if you look in the Total Money Makeover book, then in my book, it's page 32 to 35. He's got a whole section talking about leasing a car and how the truth is that millionaires don't lease cars, right? He talks about that. And he says that millionaires buy 2-year-old cars or older. And they don't buy brand new cars, and they never lease their cars, all right? That's what Dave Ramsey says in the Total Money Makeover, and he has 4 pages talking about leasing a car, okay? And the statistics that I saw about Americans leasing cars said most of the time they're leasing Lexuses, BMWs, and Mercedes. I've never owned any one of those cars or even driven one. All right, so let's just get into this. Let's say there's a $20,000 brand new car. And over the course of 4 years, it's going to depreciate or lose value 60 to 70% of its value. All right. So then that means over the 4 years, after the 4 years, that $20,000 car is going to depreciate $14,000 and be worth $6,000, right? So if you're going to lease it or rent it monthly, which is essentially what you're doing when you lease, is you are renting the car, then the car dealership wants to make some money off of that transaction, right? They don't want to have a loss, otherwise they'd all go out of business. And supposedly the car dealers make the bulk of their money from financing and from leasing vehicles, not from selling cars outright. That's not where they make their money. They make their money from leasing and financing, because of the interest and everything, right? So if you were to rent the car, then they want to make back their money that they're losing just in depreciation, the value. So for a $20,000 car, if it depreciates 70% of its value in 4 years, over those 4 years, they need to make at least $291 a month to earn back that money for the depreciation, right? Plus, they want to get some interest off of that, plus some profit, because they're losing the interest that they normally would make if they were to finance that car. So when you lease it, they want you to be paying the interest, and supposedly the interest is usually somewhere around 14% interest. So you're paying for the loss of the car, the $291, plus the interest, plus they want to make some profit, so they tax some more on there. Plus, when you turn the car back in, you have to pay for any overage in miles, and you also have to pay for any excess wear and tear on the car. So if they think it looks like it's been a little bit too beat up, you're going to be paying extra for that as well. So the bottom line is that you're not getting a deal when you're leasing a car, and that the car dealership or the car manufacturer is going to make their money, and they are making money off of you when you lease a car. And basically by leasing the car or renting it, you're getting the privilege of driving a brand new Lexus or Mercedes, I guess, that you wouldn't otherwise be able to afford. But at the end of it, you have no car that you get to continue driving. You don't own anything, and you've paid all this money in interest on top of already paying for the drop in value. So I think that when I go to buy cars, I think I'm buying other people's leased vehicles, and they've already paid for the drop in value for me. And so I get the nice car, sometimes with the bells and whistles, that's 3-4 years old, and I don't have to pay for that drop in value. I'm just buying it outright with cash, which I think is the better deal, which is why I think I'll continue to purchase cars. I understand that a lot of people say that they want a brand new car because it won't break down, there's less repairs, but new cars today, or newer cars, are built so well that there's really not that many repairs. We've had our cars for over 10 years with very minimal repairs on top of just the regular oil changes and maintenance that we do. And it really doesn't cost that much, especially if you don't go to the dealership to get the work done on your car. If you find a mechanic who is honest and who has integrity and does a good job, and their prices can be very reasonable, that it does not cost a lot of money to maintain a car. Especially because before we buy a car, I always look up consumer reports, and I try to buy a car that is scored very high for reliability to help to make sure that it's like going to have minimal repairs. So like I said, newer cars are built so well that it's not very likely you're going to have a ton of repairs needed or maintenance. And then if you're looking for that, warranty that you get with a new car, a lot of times when you buy a car that's 3, 4, 5 years old, sometimes maybe there might still be some of that warranty left, but I have never purchased the extended warranty on any car ever, and I have not had any problems not doing so. Again, I think that's something that is really a moneymaker for the dealership, those extended warranties. It doesn't really provide a lot of value to the consumer, which would be us. I also don't like the idea of having to make a huge financial decision every 4 years when my lease expires and I'm left without a car, or having to purchase my leased car and buy it out. I don't like that idea. I feel as if I'd much prefer buy a $1,000 or $5,000 car and then save cash, save money to upgrade to a better car. And then that way it's just on our own terms. I don't have this sort of ticking time bomb sort of counting down to when our lease is going to expire and I'm going to have to turn in my fancy new car. Also, I don't like having to constantly watch the miles on my car or be concerned about wear and tear. When you have little kids, which I do, then a lot of times you can do your best to keep the car looking nice, but something could happen that is outside of your control within the interior, and I would not want to have that level of stress constantly worrying about it, because I didn't want to have to worry about paying for the excess wear and tear at the end. So I feel as if for peace of mind and financially, if you crunch the numbers, then it just is better to buy, even if that means buying a less fancy car or less fancy model of car, or something that's older with a little bit more miles on it. I really don't believe that an older car means unreliable. I know a lot of people think it does, but I don't. I think if you do your due diligence and look up consumer reports, have your mechanic check the car before you purchase it, make sure that it hasn't had any past accidents, you can get a really good car, and it might be a little bit uglier or not as fancy as the brand new cars, but I still think driving a car that is paid for, that's worth it to me. Driving around knowing that it's my car, I own it, I don't owe anybody else for it, they can't come take the car away from me. That to me is definitely worth it. It's worth it. All right, so I hope that helped a little bit. If you still love leasing your car and you think it's the better deal, that's perfectly fine. It's your car, your choice. You're the one buying it. You're the one paying for it. Leave a comment down below letting me know whether you do love your leases or you hate them. And I am here every single Tuesday talking all about money. So if it's your first time here, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.